Welcome to the Wonder Boldly podcast, hosted by yours truly, Christine, founder of Drizzle Academy. I am going to encourage and motivate you to take action towards your big goals. I'm going to teach you everything I've learned from building a very successful 25-year career, coaching people, and starting my own online business. I am going to give you so many action items you are going to be able to wonder boldly. Well, hello friends. Welcome back to another episode of Wonder Boldly. And I'm so excited about this topic around self-confidence. I have been doing a lot of studying on it, and I am wrapping up this 3-part series with today's episode on questions you can ask yourself to boost your self-confidence. So the last 2 episodes were around action steps, and this episode is really about setting some time aside for yourself to sit down in a quiet space where you won't be interrupted, maybe with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, somewhere where you can really focus on yourself. And you're going to think about these questions, and you don't have to do this all in one sitting. Take your time, really put thought into it, go back and look at it. This is really something you're going to do over about probably a week, really thinking about these questions, then going back to them, looking at your answers, and maybe refining them, and really spending a good amount of time around these questions. And this is all about the fact that confidence is something that we have to work on all the time. And confidence is strongly linked to taking action, taking calculated risks. So this is the 3rd episode. After you've taken some action, you've done some things, if you followed along on the previous episodes, and now you're going to sit down and really ask yourself these questions so you can move forward and continue to build your self-confidence. So let's get right into it. The first question I want you to think about is, what is the vision you hold for yourself? So what is the person you want to be, the person you are? How do you see yourself? Okay. So this is going to be very revealing to you, because when you sit down and think about this and start writing, some negative thoughts might come up. I hope not for you, but it's very, very common. You might think, well, I'm overweight, or I need to exercise more, and all those. I'm not a quick learner. Whatever it is, I hope they don't come up for you, but it's very, very common that they will. And so you're going to need to push past those. So again, this is why this is a long exercise, not something that you're going to sit down and answer each question and then you're done. Because you're going to need to move past some of those negative thoughts. So again, the question is, what is the vision you hold for yourself? And then what is the vision you hold for this new role you want to take on, a new project, a new challenge? How do you see that? So maybe you're embarking on this because you want to start your own podcast. And you're wondering, I want to consider myself as a podcaster, and I'm wondering how I go about that. I don't like the sound of my voice, or I don't have the right equipment, or whatever it is. But what is that vision that you have of being a podcaster? That's what you're going to want to write here. So again, those things are going to come up, those negative thoughts or those limiting beliefs, whatever it is, you're going to have to work past those. And again, not just in one sitting. Okay, and that leads us right into, very nicely, the question of, where do you hesitate? So I already gave a couple of examples. So for example, maybe I hesitate because I don't have the right space. I don't have the right equipment. What will I talk about? Who is my audience? Who am I speaking to? What do I want people to get out of this? Oh, do I really have anything people are interested in hearing? Those types of things. So where you're hesitating is in those questions. And I think if you go back and listen to a previous episode where I talked about, I'm laughing because it's a funny story, I talked about my storytelling or lack of storytelling skills. That's something that I had no self-confidence around. I didn't have any proof to tell myself that I could tell a good story. So I always was like, I can't tell stories. I'm a terrible storyteller. And instead of saying, I can learn how to tell a story, right? So I took classes and so forth. But my point is removing that negative talk. What are those hesitations and kind of flipping those around? Maybe you don't have the best studio. What is your hesitation about that? Well, there's not a room in the house. Maybe there isn't. You always hear about podcasters starting in their closets. Creating the pillows around them and the blankets to, have that sound that doesn't sound so echoey. So there's always things we can do, but you have to identify it, right? You have to identify it and then put a plan in place. The next question is, what strengths can you draw on that will help you in that regard? So maybe one of your strengths is, I'm really resourceful. I can figure out a space. Maybe I go to my car. Maybe I'm really resourceful and I can make a whole bunch of sort of foam boundaries. I have some, what is that stuff? That bedding, and you can cut it. I have a friend who did that. And they cut the foam, put some fabric around it, and really wrap that around their mic. Maybe you have that skill set. I don't personally, but maybe you do. So what are some of the strengths you can draw on to bring yourself to this vision that you want to be a podcaster, or whatever your vision is? And then the next question is, what is a calculated risk you could take? So an easy example of this is, a calculated risk could be, I am going to buy the equipment, right? So I am going to buy the mic. What is a calculated risk you could take? So for example, another example for those getting into the online space for your business, maybe you're not comfortable going on video. And you're going to have to, yes you are, go on video so people can get to know, like, and trust you and see you, but it makes you really uncomfortable. So how could you move through that? What is a risk that you're willing to take to move through that? Maybe you don't create a whole YouTube video or a whole Zoom video that you're sharing. Maybe you create a really short how-to video that's maybe 5 minutes long. Honestly, if it comes from a genuine place and it's helpful to others, then it doesn't have to be really long. People don't want to dive into really long videos, in my opinion. Really long podcasts, in my opinion. That's why mine are short and sweet. And I'm projecting for sure. So even still, if your goal is to at some point do much longer videos, but you're not there yet, don't try to do that at the first time you create a video. It just is too much to take on if that is something that you're not comfortable doing. So what is a calculated risk in your mind? That might be a risk to put yourself out there on video. What is it that you can do? Maybe create a 2-minute video, something short, maybe even shorter than that. So taking that risk and then proving to yourself that you can do it. So those are the 5 questions you should spend some time on, journaling, sitting down in a quiet space, taking the time to do it. Then go back and look at those notes again. Go through the exercise again till you get to a place where you feel like you have a good solid foundation there. And basically, really high level, it's, what do you want? How do you want that to look? Where do you hesitate? What are the strengths you can draw on? And then the key thing is a calculated risk. Taking that risk, and once you do that, in my example of doing the video and you put it out there, you're going to feel so good. So good. Believe me. So let's talk about self-confidence in general. Self-confidence is really linked to the ability to assess and learn from your past challenges. In the previous episode, I mentioned writing down your accomplishments, and that was a first step. And then writing down for each of those accomplishments, you want to have a good handful of them. You've done a lot through your life. I know you have a ton of accomplishments. And then for each one, write down how you were able to achieve that accomplishment, because that's the key. That is the piece that gives you the confidence. I'm sure you had to go through some tough things, some challenges, some risk. Confidence is linked to the ability to assess, learn from, and move past challenges. So in our daily lives, we face challenges and we make decisions. And sometimes, whether we realize it or not, we're doing that subconsciously. So we're going through our day and something comes up and you're able to remember back to when you had a similar challenge and how you overcame that challenge, right? So you want to continue to move forward, identify some calculated risks so that you're constantly moving forward and you're constantly building upon that list of accomplishments, and more importantly, the steps you had to take to get there, because that continues to build your self-confidence. So think of another saying, and I can't remember where I read this, but it is said in this way: mastery rather than perfection. Meaning you want to be able to acquire the skills to become a podcaster, but don't wait until you feel like you've got the perfect equipment, you've got the perfect setup, the perfect music, if you're going to use music, the perfect intro, the perfect outro. Don't wait for perfection. It comes with action, and it comes with doing the work, getting better at it. Absolutely. The more you do it, the better you will get. If you're just sitting there thinking, using the video example, okay, I have to have my hair perfect, I have to have perfect background, I have to have my script, I have to know what I'm going to say, I have to have it memorized, and I can't say right? Everybody knows that. We want to cut out the ums, but some of the ums are just natural and authentic. So this idea of perfection, in my example of the video, is going to prevent you from moving forward. And it's also going to prevent you from gaining the further skill set that you need to continue to go on video and get better and better at it. Confidence is strongly linked to doing. The best thing you can do for yourself is to take action and learn from all of the steps, all of the challenges, all of the risks, and the outcomes that came from those. I hope these episodes on self-confidence have piqued your interest, have inspired you to take some action, inspired you to sit down and journal, really given you some tools that you can use to increase your self-confidence. Self-confidence is so important because it allows us to go out and be the best human we can be and help our communities, help our friends, our family, ourselves. Just really making a better world. I hope this was helpful. I hope you've enjoyed these episodes. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. That's it for this episode. Thank you again so much for listening. Please head over to Instagram to follow me there at Drizzle Academy. And if you want more of these types of strategies and so much more around reaching your goals, you definitely want to get on my email list. You can go to my website, drizzleacademy.com, and sign up there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did and want to share it, take a screenshot and tag me on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you. Until next time, continue to wonder boldly.